Before we get into this video, I want to just take a brief moment to tell you guys I have built my first set of LUTs packs. It's a very small pack, but these are something that I've been working on for quite a while. The first pack I've ever put together, it's for designed specifically for the two newest Blackmagic cameras, the Pocket 6K and the Pocket 4K, as well as the Canon C200. And what these LUTs do is they emulate the look of both of red wide RGB gamma as well as Ari's log C. So if you're interested in having these LUTs, make sure to follow the link in the video and also check them out. It's really affordable, and any sort of help that you guys can help contribute to continue building this platform, I greatly appreciate it. But enough of that, on to the video. What is up, everybody? James Jackson here, back again with another video. If you're new to my channel, I do tips and tricks for the film and video making industry. So if you like the content here, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell so you can stay up to date on all the content going forth. I know it's been a while and I do apologize for the delay. I'm still planning to do 3 more videos, so I'm putting out 1 more video tomorrow to keep up with the 3 videos that I post on a weekly basis. There's been a heavy projects that I have at one of my other jobs. I had a big project that I had to take care of, as well as wrapping up the music video, which some of you guys have already seen. If you haven't seen the new music video I did for my man Philly the Illest, he's a hip-hop artist out in VA. We shot a video sort of really inspired by the Dragon Ball manga. I was really excited and I'm super happy. If you haven't seen the video, definitely check out my channel and see the video itself. And I would love to hear from all you guys about it. Today is sort of a continuation of the 1DX Mark III coverage, and I personally feel like this camera has left me a bit conflicted, and the reason why is this camera is really delivering some very interesting specs. Like, it is delivering high quality video specs that I am really looking forward to seeing. Of course, you got the 4K videos, 10-bit 422, C-Log recording, and also you got 5.5K RAW as well. So a lot of interesting things to look about, and it's really making me, I'm not gonna lie, I've been in a bit of conflict stage because of the C200. This guy back right here, the Canon C200, has been one of my main cameras. It was one of the main cameras of that music video that I talk about, along with my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K. But the C200 has been like my workhorse camera for like the past 2 years, and I love every bit about it. There's some things I don't like about it. I don't like the fact that there isn't a 10-bit 422. I really wish there was. I personally know why Canon did it. It was to really, because they designed this camera strictly for like online content delivery, not necessarily for broadcast. But now you got something like the 1DX Mark II coming out with 10-bit 422, and it's really making me wonder, should I really consider, since the fact that, one, their BIOS at this point in time really they're pretty much the same price. So I figured this video I would go over the C200 and would say what are some things to keep it, but as well as what are some things to go with the 1DX Mark II. So let's start off with reasons to sell the C200 and get the 1DX Mark II. And the main reason is the improved image quality. Roughly the improved image quality. It's a bigger sensor, it's a larger resolution, which means it's going to be sharper. It's using faster media cards, so it can handle larger files. It has a better codec with 10-bit 422. In terms of the lower end, the RAW is sort of mixed, because it's not from Cinema Raw Lite, it's actual RAW, Canon RAW, and which means it's very it is very, very process heavy, which is the reason why obviously you're going with CF Express cards, which I'm totally fine with. I think everybody should be ready to go to CF Express cards, regardless of the cameras you're choosing, because we are not only are we now entering a 4K delivery, business, we're now entering into a 10-bit workflow business. And to get good 10-bit content, you're going to have to use those CF Express cards. And you need to just in order to manage everything. So this is the way of the future. I totally agree with Jared Poland, who was saying like, this is the wave of the future. You should definitely look, and people should definitely consider looking at CF Express. I know a lot of people want to try to stick with SD cards. I personally feel like SD cards, at this point, they're becoming limiting to where we are going in the industry with 10-bit delivery, with 4K delivery, with HDR delivery. All this is happening at once. We need to start preparing for that delivery, and the C200 can do that, but only in not in a flow content like, say, the 1DX Mark II, because of that 10-bit 422, the fact that it has really good HEVC codec compared to other 6K cameras or other high-resolution cameras that I've covered before. It's really designed to do a lot of different things and deal with a lot of great exposures. And one of the things that I'm really excited about with the 1DX is the fact that you got raw capabilities, and that means you can, even though it's saying that you're only allowed to access C-Log, raw is metadata. So as long as you are able to, as long as you're able to gain access to that metadata and control it, which maybe you may be doing in the Canon RAW development, you probably could get access to C-Log 2 and C-Log 3. So slightly better codexes. The other reason is the 120 frames per second. I'm not gonna lie, the 120 frames per second is really selling me, the things to go with this camera. Because unlike the C200, or even its bigger brother, the C500, you can't do 120 frames per second and still have great continuous autofocus. You lose the autofocus, which means odds are your things are going to be a lot softer. You're not going to be able to, it's going to be harder to keep focus with that high frame rate. And to me, the 100, and everybody knows if you've worked with the 1DX Mark II, the 120 frames per second is one of the best features about it. And I think this is going to be the same thing with this camera, with the 120 frames per second HD capabilities. I think that is going to make a great thing, especially if you're into super slow mode. That camera is going to, especially now it's 10-bit 422, 120 frames per second with continuous autofocus, with dual pixel autofocus. That to me is like, if you're big into slow mode, that's definitely one of the reasons to get it. The other thing is, it's smaller, it's compact. If you need to go on travels and you need to travel while still keeping high quality content, the 1DX Mark II is going to be a lot easier to travel with than necessarily the C200. And also the introduction of face eye detection. So with the 1DX Mark II, you can actually have face eye detect, which you can't do on the C200. You can do it on the C500, but that's obviously on the higher tier of the cinema lines. But the ability to do face eye detection in the 1DX Mark II for the same price as the C200, that is a very critical thing, because now you can really focus on the face. You can really get your things on the eye, and I do believe 1DX Mark II will also have face-only detection autofocus, which is one of the best autofocus features, and why I still prefer Canon's dual pixel autofocus over Sony's. Even though it snaps on and it's quicker of responding to the face, it doesn't lock onto the face as good as face-only face detection of the dual pixel autofocus. From all my experience, it's been like that. I've never had that when you set up for interviews and you're doing vlogs like this. I have never had an issue with the autofocus when I'm using that dual pixel autofocus face only detection. It's one of the best things about it. Now let's talk about some things why you should keep the C200 if you have the C200 but you're thinking about going to the 1DX Mark III. The big one is obviously the 30-minute record limit, and that is the main thing that is really holding me back. That 30-minute record limit is a big deal to me. This wouldn't be a big deal if all I did was just short form content like this, where I rarely go over 30 minutes, but I also do weddings. I do long form interviews and long form contents, and then having to just constantly having to remember that you have to stop it and quickly start it up, potentially maybe missing an important moment because of that record limit is a big deal. So, you know, it's a shame that, you know, we can't use, you know, unlimited recording. Now you can go to an external monitor and use unlimited recorded that way, which I guess it's just another thing that you have to tack on, and also another thing you have to carry on. So if you have something like a Ninja 5, I think that will work fine. The other thing is that it's not a full-size HDMI. It's only a mini HDMI, which not my favorite. It's not my favorite connection. I don't know why Canon. There's so much real estate on that camera. I don't understand why Canon doesn't put a full HDMI on it. The Pocket Cinema camera has less real estate than the 1DX Mark II, and it has a full-size HDMI. I just don't understand why Canon didn't put it in there. The next thing is built-in NDs. Built-in NDs are such a lifesaver. It's such a lifesaver. It's such a time saver. And there's no built-in NDs on the 1DX Mark II, which makes sense. It's a DSLR. At the end of the day, this is still a photography first camera. Even though the video specs are amazing, it's still a photography first camera. And you can't, and there's no way to ignore the mirror. I mean, it's a DSLR, there's going to be a mirror, so it prevents the chance of using built-in NDs. And then the final thing is no XLR inputs. Now, obviously, you can go get some sort of, you know, audio adapter that will let you go from the 3.5 mini to XLR. But again, that's additional costs and it's additional things, and it just makes it more bulky. And it just, I'd rather have things that are just put on the camera and that I don't have to remember to add on, remember to make sure this is working, make sure the signal is sending right. It's just more stuff to think about, more stuff, and it's also, at the end of the day, slows the time down. And that's ultimately that's ultimately what's making me say I'm going to stick with the C200. I think. I think. And the reason why I say that is because I've always stressed that time is money, and I still stress it, and I will continue to stress it. Time is money, and anything that I can do to speed up and save me time on a production or a shoot is stuff that I can go back to either save time for myself, to relax, recuperate, or making more time to do other projects. And that's what the C200 does so well. It's built and designed to work with professional videographers and cinematographers, and it helps you save time. And the other final thing, and this is what really will ultimately sway me to stick with the C200, I think, because man, those video specs are hard to resist. But the final thing is the looks, perception. And a couple people have talked about it, people that I respect, Armando, Carlos, a lot of people, and they all said the same thing that I've personally have been saying a long time. The client's perception on the gear you bring matters a lot. If you are a working DP or a working cinematographer, especially in if they're paying you a lot of money, you can't just walk on with a DSLR. It looks like somebody that you just like you do stills and photos and you just look like you're just a low budget filmmaker. Even though the specs are not that, and we all know the specs, perception still matters. Having a big camera like this, having to be able to build this up with a matte box, some good glass, and having the XLR inputs makes this camera such a huge value, much more important than the specs, because people see a camera like this and they go, okay, this guy is serious. Because that's what I know my clients, they love taking pictures. They want to be able to show off and say, hey, we're working with some really big cameras. And it sucks that perception is still a thing, but it's true. Perception still matters. So me personally, for now, I'm sticking with the C200. I'm probably actually going to be getting the C500. Right now, I'm saving my money to get the C500 Mark II. And then when we come look at that, I might revisit and go get the 1DX Mark II. But I will say, I'm kind of nervous. The one last thing I am nervous about the C200 is the value of the C200 is coming down, which is great for everybody who's been maybe looking at this camera for a long time and want to get it, and that's totally true. But for those of us who have owned this for a while, it's coming. We are getting to a point where we have to continue to assess if we should upgrade to something else or hold on to this and potentially lose value when the day we do ultimately try to sell it, more than we actually may want to give up for the market. But these are my thoughts. Thank you guys for listening. Let me know what you think. Make sure to leave a like, leave a comment below, and make sure to hit that subscribe button. And until next time,